Welcome back to the Republic of Arsenal. We're live yet again, Europa League edition. And look, it's got to the stage as an Arsenal fan. As much as it kills me to say, we look forward to our Europa League nights. We never thought a couple of seasons ago we'd be saying that, but we will touch on it later, Sulz. I see you shaking your head. We will discuss Arsenal's league form. It looks like for Arteta's men, it's Europa League or bust. And unfortunately, it's the old enemy, Olympiacos, up next, who dumped us out of the competition last season. So, yeah, this is going to be, look, it's going to be a fun preview. We're going to address a couple of issues. We're going to open up a few old wounds for all the Arsenal fans here, no doubt. But look, a bit of therapy as an Arsenal fan is never a bad thing. So, the venue, we're back in Athens on Thursday night. Olympiacos with the home advantage, but it is a ground that Arsenal know very well. It's almost like our home away from home. You know, we played out there last season and we got a result. Now, unfortunately, it was at our official home, the Emirates, is where we let ourselves down. But more recently, we did dump Benfica out in the last round in Athens. So, look, a couple of good memories. We as Arsenal fans will be hoping for a couple more good memories to add to that collection tomorrow night. I don't know if the two guys that I have on the panel here tonight are going to agree, but I will introduce them now in a moment. But first of all, you know his face already. You know his name. It's Sulz. At this stage, Sulz, you've almost become my co-host at this stage. You're coming on the show so much. I almost feel like I can't do you justice with an intro, because for the guys, Stephen and Lambros, that haven't seen previous episodes, Sulz brings the fire when he shows up and talks Arsenal, to the point where I've had to replace numerous laptops because of the smoke that he leaves coming out of the game. So Sulz, I'm gonna let you take it away. You can introduce yourself. Like if the people don't know, they're about to find out. So Sulz, welcome back.
Yeah, you started from me. If you don't know, get to know. And I don't know why you don't know already, but it's Gooner Sulz, it's Anthony, it's Stephen, and Lambros, people. You know what? This is going to be one hell of a show. Yes, we are going to be opening up some wounds. Yes, we're going to need some, psychological treatment after this. We might need to get ourselves admitted into hospital, but you know what? It'd be worth it after we dump Olympiacos out of the Europa League and we complete our revenge. That's all I'm going to leave it to before I get carried away.
We're not hoping for any of that, to be honest with you.
I'm going to politely disagree.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that, especially being dumped out of Europa.
Well, look, that's the fire introduction, as you expect from our resident fireman, Gooner Sulz. But I'm going to introduce the Olympiacos boys now. So I'm really, really delighted that I could get not just one but two fans from Olympiacos were kind enough to come on to the panel tonight. As people are aware, I love to have fans from opposition sides come on, because look, I struggle to speak intelligently about Arsenal, so I'm not going to pretend that I can do it, with rival clubs. So you might as well hear from the horse's mouth, and who better than fans from the club that we're about to play themselves. So first of all, I want to say big thanks to the lads for coming on. And Stephen, first of all, so Stephen is joining us from the UK. So Stephen, if you want to just let the people know, just give a little breakdown first of all of how you became an Olympiacos fan and your background, and then I'm gonna ask Lambros the same thing.
So my family are originally from Cyprus, so there's a lot of Greek sort of influence there, obviously, and with that comes a lot of discovery of your ethnic identity, and that's kind of what led me to supporting Olympiacos in the first place. I fell in love with football after Georgios Karagounis scored against Russia at Euro 2012. And that's when I was like, wow, like this sport's suddenly incredible. When I was just like, wait, I have no idea what this game is. I don't know what it is. And then eventually, upon seeing like the group stages of like the 2012-13 Champions League group stage, I was like, which is the Greek one? I was saying to my dad, which is the Greek one? And he's like, oh, it's these two, Olympiacos, Panathinaikos. I believe Panathinaikos were in the group stage of that season, maybe. And then I was like, oh, I want to support them. And I pointed at Olympiacos, and that was it, really. And ironically, one of the first matches I ever saw as an Olympiacos supporter was against Arsenal when we were already out of the group stage, but we beat you 2-1. Kostas Mitroglou came off the bench and scored a very nice goal to give us the win, despite not getting to the round of 16. And yeah, it's just been pretty much me supporting Olympiacos from there. And I started writing about Olympiacos a year ago. I got picked up by Hellas Football, where I contribute a blog on a weekly basis. And we do a podcast once a week as well about Greek football. There's a bunch of guys who support different teams that we just all talk about Greek football in English and give the latest updates. And yeah, it's great. It's great to be part of a community, really.
Yeah, no, that's really, really cool. Yeah, like that. I love finding out, especially when fans aren't based in the country. Like I myself, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, a London club. I'm based in Ireland. As you could probably tell by this funny accent, people trying to decipher what I'm saying half the time, wondering where the hell is this guy from? But yeah, no, it is really, really cool. And yeah, Lambro, you're the same. You're actually in Geneva in Switzerland. So if you want to give the people a little breakdown of your background as well.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. So I just got here to Switzerland doing my studies, but I'm actually originally from the U.S. and I'm from actually Honolulu, Hawaii, in the U.S. So out there, 12 hours behind Greece, so quite far away. But my love for Olympiacos comes from my father. He grew up in the center of Athens in a neighborhood called Pagrati, but this is a Panathinaikos neighborhood. So I don't know how my father came upon that following of Olympiacos, because my uncle is Panathinaikos. But anyway, my father just loved Olympiacos, and when I would go to travel to Greece, it would always be Olympiacos. We would talk Olympiacos. Everything was Olympiacos, and that's how my love for the club came, because it was something that brought me together with my family, with my cousins, and we could call each other and talk about it. But you have to know, following a Greek football team from the US, let alone from Hawaii, which is 12 hours behind Greece, is incredibly hard. So it was always hard to catch games, listen to the radio a lot, which was an experience. But as I got older and things got more modern, I'd catch almost every game of Olympiacos. And when I'm in Athens, I always catch a game. I went to 2 Champions League qualifiers, I think. It was 2 seasons ago now. And yeah, I've been to Olympiacos Panathinaikos games, and it's just, I tell it all the time with my hosts. When you walk into the doors in Karaiskaki, a lot of opposing fans say, wow, this is a crazy place. But for us, it's like falling in love. It's loud. People are next to you. You're singing, you're jumping, and it's just magical. I don't know how to explain it. And we say you catch the bug. And I think my first time in Karaiskaki, I really caught the bug. And I love Olympiacos, and I'm trying to make this club bigger through this initiative that we're doing at Gate 7 International.
Yeah, no, again, really, really cool background. And yeah, like you're saying, at Gate 7 International, I had a look at some of your guys' stuff. So like you're really doing impressive things there. And what I will do is I will make sure, when this is all wrapped up, there will be links. For anyone who's interested, you can see the ticker going down below. All the panel, the Twitter handles are there. So do make sure you give the guys a follow. And like that, hit the like button, give us some feedback. And look, we're more than happy to take any questions you want to fire into the comment section there. Before we move on, I'm going to take this opportunity to point out I am actually guilty of purchasing an Olympiacos jersey in the past. I did go on a holiday a couple of years ago when I was a bit younger, and I went over to Crete. And while I was there, it was actually a younger brother of mine was obsessed with Yaya Toure. And I passed by a shop and I seen a Yaya Toure Olympiacos jersey. And I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to annoy you here, but because of being Irish and Panathinaikos having the Shamrock, I was always more drawn towards Panathinaikos and then Gilberto Silva and that. So yeah, but I didn't ever spend money on Panathinaikos the way I did Olympiacos. So
That's good. That's what
so
we like.
you can go easy on me here.
Yeah.
Especially we lost to Panathinaikos something like 3 weeks ago. And it was
Yeah,
our first loss all season. So.
Well, look, while we're on the topic there of league form, as I understand, the Greek season is it one game is left in the season, or what way does that work?
So it's a bit confusing. So they changed this recently. The top 6 teams, we have a regular season, quote unquote, and the top 6 teams break into something called a championship group, and they'll play each other again 2 more times, and the bottom 6 teams will play each other 2 more times. So we have our last game this coming weekend against a team from the bottom group, but then the league will split, and that will see us play more competitive teams. And the idea behind this was to get us to play the bigger teams more often, because that's the money makers. That's what people go out to, and that's what Greek football is known for, those fiery derbies, Panathinaikos, Olympiacos, PAOK. So that's what it is. But even going into the championship group, I think we're really close mathematically. Probably be like 3-4 more games and the league is done, probably.
Yeah, I was looking at that, and I could see there's a bit of daylight between Olympiacos and the nearest challenger, so it looks like the league is a bit of a formality. It is something, Sulz, it's something that I was aware of, how far ahead Olympiacos are domestically. That's going to be a problem for Arsenal now. Our league form, very, very stop-start, as you know more than anybody. My feelings on it, we've had a couple of panels together. We've shared a few podcasts recently. It's a funny one because technically we're not out of the race for a top 6 or even top 4. Although we know, hand on heart, we probably are. But it is a bit of a disadvantage coming into a game like this when a side knows they can afford to go all in and they don't really need to focus on the league. What are you thinking here? Is Arteta, is he giving up on the league now? Is this all eggs in the Europa basket coming into this one?
It doesn't seem that way, obviously, when you look at the lineups that are being selected week in, week out. Yes, he is resting certain players, but the players he's bringing in are good enough and experienced enough within the Premier League to offer and actually do well. Such as your Williams, you've got potentially even David Luiz sometimes can be the third choice, and then obviously Mario and Holding can come in. So it's not that, he's put all his eggs in one basket, or he is trying to do both. Our main problem is our mentality has been all wrong. We go down. There's games where we come fighting and we actually show that passion and fire, and then there's other games where we just collapse under the pressure of actually needing to score. And the problem with Arsenal right now, and this is what I keep saying, a manager can't change this, is individual errors. Now, there was an interesting statistic, or quote should we say, from someone who just analyzes Arsenal from a statistical standpoint. If we look at from the November, when our form and fortunes changed in December, when we turned into the 4-2-3-1 formation against Chelsea, if it wasn't for individual errors, we'd actually be sat 4th right now in the league because of the way we would have won those games. Now, that's the biggest problem. We've all got, every single one of those players has a mistake in them. The attackers have that lack of finishing, and the defenders have a mistake or a moment of madness or a moment of misconcentration, and that's the problem. That's what needs to be stomped out. I'm not that afraid because it's a 2-legged affair, so we can do something. A league is about consistency, which we never have had. We've not had that for nearly 15 to 17 years. That's the reason why we've been struggling so much to try and break from that, from being a top 4 team to a champions winning team, because we've got this mental barrier that we just need to break. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen with the crop of players we have now. And when I go into this Olympiacos game, it's a cup game. And I always say form is irrelevant to a level. It does matter because you need that morale and you need that, sort of confidence and that mentality to say, look, we can win. But at times, when it comes to cup games or cup competitions, Real Madrid are a prime example of this. When they won their hat-trick of Champions Leagues, they had the worst cup runs. They had the worst league form in a very long time when they won those 3 Champions Leagues. That's why I do believe there are times where it matters. I think where it matters most is getting you from the depths. Like for example, the Benfica game. if we go into that game with more confidence, that's what happens. Obviously, there can be moments, for example, the Burnley game, that if Olympiacos do, let's say, get an early goal within the first sort of 20 minutes, our heads can drop because we've not got that confidence. Maybe if we played them after Leicester, we'd be looking at this game differently. But because of the way we drew to Burnley, we lack that confidence going into this game. But I've always said, what happened last season, these are professional footballers. If they don't turn up, they can hand their jerseys in, they can hand their resignations in because they don't deserve to be an Arsenal player. That fire of revenge, I just want if we lose, I want a very good performance. I want a passion-filled performance. If they lack that, I want them all gone. I don't want a single player in that team to ever wear that Arsenal jersey because they don't deserve it. Because this is revenge. This is the game of revenge for Arsenal. They've got to prove to us that we are Arsenal Football Club that doesn't deserve to be in the Europa League. That's on them to prove that now.
Yeah, like you said, sorry, Lambros, I'll let you know.
No, that was straight out of a Greek radio station. That was, English fans, they always try to, what we perceive as they're more laid back. That was top. That's something like we would hear all the time in Greece. And that passion is like something I've not always heard from your guys' fans. If I could jump in, there's just, to us, it's amazing where you are. The talent on this team, I personally rate Tierney, Gabriel, Leno's a good keeper for me. The midfield, I really like Partey. Jacques is another story. I'm sorry, guys. I think he stayed at 2-3 years too long. But Saka, Martinelli, I know is coming back from injury. Odegaard now, Smith Rowe has been playing great. Aubameyang, Lacazette. It's mind-boggling that you're in 10th place and we're talking here like, can Olympiacos do it again? Like, this Arsenal team should be in the Champions League running, and Olympiacos, this should be like a miracle for us beating you guys, to be honest. This would be, of course, it's a very difficult task even now, but it's staggering, that we've at this point, because Arsenal that I remember and that I know really well is the team that would push in the Champions League and would play beautiful football. And so I don't know, it's a bit, I don't know, Stephen can maybe add on, but it's a bit shocking for me that we're here. Like, usually we draw Arsenal and it's like, okay, yeah, it's done. We can't do it. Just the talent and the football is so good. But now there's just this belief, like, maybe we can do something. We're a decent, tight-knit group and we play tight defensively. Maybe we can do something. I just don't know if that would have been there just like 5-6 years ago, even though we've had decent results against you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree, to be honest, Lambro, because I remember Arsenal, like, whenever we got them in the group stage, which was a lot of times we've got you guys in the Champions League group stage. We always felt like, okay, maybe at home we can steal a win, maybe, and then away there's no chance. Like, we'll always lose to you guys away, and at points that's how it was until like the last few encounters where we somehow managed to win. Firstly, in 2015-16 in the Champions League group stage, and then you beat us with Giroud's hat trick in the last game of the group, and then obviously the tables were turned again last season. And it is strange because despite the evident talent you have in your team, and you are, we're not going to beat around the bush, you are a better team on paper than us. But for some reason, this is the season where I felt most optimistic about facing you guys, because we feel like we might actually have a chance because our squad is quite settled. We know what style of football we want to play in Europe. We have the people in the right positions to do the right things for us. And if those things are implemented correctly, that we do actually have a legitimate chance of getting past you guys. But it's going to be incredibly difficult all the same, because you have individuals that can hurt us, like particularly Aubameyang. And the problem we had last round against PSV was that we allowed Zahavi, their striker, to pretty much try and carry them to knock us out. And so if we get the same thing with a next level player like Aubameyang, we will get knocked out.
Yeah, well, do you know what? The interesting thing about like what you said there, on paper, Arsenal are a better team, but like Sulz will vouch for me here. How many times have we seen Arsenal on paper be the better team this season? And yeah, we just crumbled at the challenge. Do
you know what it is, Anthony? It's a mentality of being overly confident going into games. We have this sort of ego as if we're the Arsenal of 03-04, the Invincible era. We carry ourselves with that sort of ego and pride into games, and I don't know where it comes from, simply because I don't understand what these players have done to prove that they can have this ego, this swagger, and this confidence. Whereas if we are Man City and Man City are us, like that's how it feels sometimes when these players play. And you know, I've always said, you know, like in boxing, the phrase is, you know, it's about 70-80% mentality and, you know, actually 20% going on. That's what I think football has become in the modern day. The ability side, there's a lot of players who have the ability, but the mentality lacks for a lot of players, and that's what we're seeing. Hence why there's no consistency. Hence why we are where we are. Not because the players aren't able to be a top 4 player, but simply because their mentalities are all wrong. They need to have a better mentality, a better mindset before they can even prove to us that they're willing to be Arsenal players. We need to stop being overconfident and actually respect teams that deserve it, because we're no longer the Arsenal, you know, that we loved and we grew up watching.
And if I could jump in real quick, 3-4 years ago, I can give some context. Olympiacos lost the league. I think it was to AEK. And that doesn't happen. If you look back 10 years, Olympiacos doesn't lose the league, doesn't lose the cup usually. And we lost, I think it was, we lost to AEK. Pedro Martins, our current manager, came in, and 26 players were moved on. They got rid of 26 players, and he brought in a whole new team. And that was almost the same exact thing that you were talking about the mentality. We had a player, I remember, Manuel da Costa, and Gate 7, the ultras where they were sitting, were whistling him. And he started waving at them and swearing at them, kind of like Xhaka did. You know what happened to Manuel da Costa? He was gone ASAP. You disrespect Olympiacos, or you disrespect the fans, you're gone. The situation where Xhaka was able to disrespect the fans, whip off that shirt, and kind of have like a media campaign and come back, that doesn't happen at Olympiacos. You're gone. You could be a star player, but that disrespect doesn't fly. And him being captain and being an everyday player, no matter how good he becomes, is kind of mental to us, you know, like that wouldn't fly with us. And I think the mentality is a good point. Like, who is the leader on that field right now? Xhaka? I don't know.
Yeah, we've been searching for leaders for many years, and that tells you everything you need to know when that's about the best leader we have. But yeah, look, we've touched on that a good few times. The whole Xhaka situation and you know, the relationship with the fans, or you know, the lack of relationship at this stage. And yeah, look, we've argued back and forth. You know, okay, look, the fans were wrong to do what they did, but yeah, you know, at the end of the day, these are the people that pay your wages. And I'm not saying you should take the abuse, because some of the stuff was horrific that was said to him. But yeah, there is a way of conducting yourself, and there is a way that if you fail to conduct yourself, yeah, you've got to be held accountable. And generally, like you said, like that was the end of him. So we're joined by RJ Wills. He made it. How's things, Ryan?
What's happening, guys?
All good.
Good evening.
Sorry, I'm a bit late.
You're all good.
You know what?
You made it just in time, because I'm afraid I'm about to open up a few wounds here. So yeah,
I'm used to that. So.
Yeah, that's it. You're an Arsenal.
I'm the best person.
Just before we do, I'm just gonna go into the chats here just real quick. Just before we go, I just see there's a comment there from Shane. How's Socrates doing at the club? In terms of the language, he is Greek. He's born in, I think he's from Athens, isn't he? So he's
from the Peloponnese, a place called Kalamata, I think. So, but he came up through AEK Athens, which is in a suburb of northern Athens. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I guess, look, as Arsenal fans, we are interested. How is he doing?
Stephen, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Socrates came to us, and we were all so excited, because this is like a big statement from us. Like, it was huge. Like, I thought it was just like really lazy British media rumors when they first started talking about it, because I thought, you know, Ozil's going to Fenerbahce because of the Turkish connection. Oh, Socrates is coming to Olympiacos because it's Greek, etc., etc. And then when on the weekend before it happened, when it started to become official, I was just like, wow, I can't believe this is legitimately happening. We're getting a player of Socrates level at our club, and he came, and it was yeah, it was amazing, and so far he's been good. I think he's been a bit of a slow burner because obviously he hasn't played a lot of, he didn't play a lot of senior football with you guys. I think he was in the under-23 squad. So there's been that, but as the games have gone by, he has started to pick up some more form, and he's looked a lot sharper. And you can see him on the pitch, like he's just pointing like out every single time we have the ball, pass it to them. Like he's just such an important leader for the team already. And
he's a leader.
He's hardly been here. Yeah,
he stepped in, and it's. We've had this problem of who's going to step up, and a lot of times at Olympiacos, it has to be the Greek players because the foreign players sometimes come out, look for a big move, and are gone. But the Greek players understand the derbies, which is really important. A lot of foreign players, sometimes they come in, oh, the derby, who cares? I want to play Europa League. I want to play Champions League. The Greek players know you don't win the derbies, you don't get to the Europa and Champions League games because you get killed by the fans and you're out the door in the next transfer window. So it's good to have Socrates in. And as Stephen was saying, this transfer was exciting, but one, it was exciting because we were anticipating Ruben Semedo to be sold in the summer for big money because there's been Liverpool was linked. A lot of Portuguese teams were linked. He signed a new contract, but we're expecting him gone in the summer. He's the best central defender we've had since Manolas. It's been 10 years, maybe even that far back. Of course, he's injured. He won't play both legs. So Socrates will play. So Socrates was brought in because we're going to have to start the European, I guess, what's it called, campaign. We have to play those qualifying rounds to get in. And so we start very early in the summer. So we brought Socrates in. Okay, Semedo may be sold. Socrates will fill in that gap when he gets sold in the summer. Semedo goes down. Another one of our experienced defenders, Avram Papadopoulos, goes down. And now we're sitting here, and Socrates is going to play. And he's got a knock as well. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. He has a knock, and we have no other central defender, so it's going to be him to play. And his experience shows in the little time he's played.
How much has he played for you guys? Just out of curiosity, like, has he played quite a bit, or?
So he came in and he was on a time limit for sure. He came in and the max was 60 minutes, and Pedro Martin said, "Listen, this guy is not fit. We're gonna watch him real close," and that's what we did. But now out of necessity, he has to play 90 minutes, but he couldn't play 90 minutes earlier, and at this point he's all we got. We have two healthy center backs and they're not healthy. Usain Ubah's hurt, our other center defender, and Socrates. So
you're giving me hope here.
I know I am. so if any of them gets injured, if anyone gets injured, Jan Mvia is our backup central defender.
And Jose Holebas as well.
And Jose Holebas, who is, oh God, he is 36, 37 years old, and he is slow. God damn it. We do not want to see Jose Holebas play at all against Arsenal, but I guess he's our emergency fourth choice central defender now. So
yeah, I guess so.
So Socrates and Ba gotta give it everything. They're all we got, really. And yeah, I don't know. Look, that's I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chats there. A big shout out to Gary DWTT who just joined. Unfortunately, Gary's internet is a week behind. He thinks we're playing Benfica, but we're playing Olympiacos, Gary.
I didn't clock.
He's gonna kill me for that.
Maybe not say that.
He's gonna kill me. Me and Gary have that love-hate relationship. He gives me a lot of stick about Xhaka. So finally, I give him some stick about something. So
I mean, look, they've got a couple of Greeks. They've got Samaris. They've got Vladimir in goalkeeper. So they're close enough, I guess.
That's it. Ryan, I want to bring Ryan into the chat here. Look, we'll stick on the whole Socrates thing because Socrates is always a player I liked at Arsenal. I thought he was very hard done by. I definitely didn't think he was our worst defender. We came into this season with 8 registered centre-backs. Somebody had to miss out. I thought it was a bit unfortunate that it was Socrates. Yeah, we know he wasn't the most mobile. We know he wasn't the quickest. But as the lads were saying there, he's a leader. What are Arsenal missing? A leader. We're crying out for a leader. Did you think letting Socrates, first of all, not registering him for the season, did you think that was, the right idea, and then to let him go? Did you think Arsenal made a mistake with that one?
I got a little bit of mixed feelings with Socrates. I mean, from the moment we signed him, I wasn't exactly enthused because I kind of looked at his age. I kind of thought, we kind of need someone a little bit younger. I kind of hoped we was going to get that Sionchu guy that ended up going to Leicester because I heard we were linked to him. But in the end, I kind of thought, well, we do need some experience and leadership quality in the back line, you know? And his Arsenal career hasn't exactly been the greatest, let's be honest, but it hasn't been the worst. And when you come to unregistering, he wouldn't exactly been my first choice. I'd probably more gone for Mustafi because Mustafi was not looking to sign, and of course we needed to get rid of him. Really, really needed to get rid of him. I would have chucked Mustafi out quicker than Socrates. Socrates is probably, I'd let him go, but I mean, I probably would have let him go in January, but I don't think I would have just unregistered him personally. I mean, he doesn't make as much mistakes as a Mustafi, you know, and plus we got young centre backs there like a Gabriel, you know, who kind of needs someone to lean on. I know he's got David Luiz, but we know David Luiz is David Luiz as well. So I don't know. I don't think he would have been my first choice, but I think it was the right choice to let him go in the end, to be honest. But
yeah, definitely think
that's
the age profile was always going to be against them as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, he was even when he wasn't registered to play. You know, we were hearing like rumblings in the background of certain players were speaking out against the manager and being a bit of a nuisance in and around the dressing room. I never heard Socrates' name come up. He always struck me as being a perfect professional. So I'm happy. I'm happy for Socrates that he got a good move, and I would like to see him do well. I'm hoping he doesn't do well tomorrow night, but he can do well once we get these two legs out of the way. He can win the Ballon d'Or for all I care. Just let us get these two legs out of the way. So lads, like I did say, I prolonged the inevitable. I do have to reopen a few wounds from last season. Look, before we really get cracking into the game tomorrow, look, unfortunately, we're going to have to take a little look back, and I'm sure Stephen and Lambro won't mind this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up the starting lineups. Just want to take a quick look at the lineups it was the second leg from the Emirates. I just want to do a little comparison. Again, look, I'm not the most clued in on the Olympiacos team sheet. I know a handful of players, I know the bigger names, but like Ryan and Sulz, we'll be able to look at this Arsenal team and sort of say, well, we have a very different, potential lineup coming into this game, and Stephen and Lambro, you might be able to do the same with Olympiacos. But this was the team. Hopefully you can see it clear enough there. If you can't, I'll move a few things around. But that is the lineup that we saw from last season. So looking at that there, I'll start off with Ryan. I'll let Ryan, you can have a look there. So look, we won't have Mustafi, we won't have Ozil. Other than that, the starting 11, it's not a million miles off what you potentially might see tomorrow. On the bench, Socrates, Torreira, Maitland-Niles, Emi Martinez, Joe Willock, and Doozy. Are you looking at that team in comparison to what we might get tomorrow, and are you more confident now, or would you have looked at that side last season and said, no, that was the team to get it done that wasn't able?
Well, let's get into it. And I'll go through the players. I mean, Mustafi, he's always a hazard. Luiz, potentially a hazard. Saka was great. Ceballos, in and out. Xhaka, we know he's a problem. I'm sorry, I know you love him, but no. Pepe, I mean, Pepe has slowly started to get to grips with him. He annoyed me in this fixture a lot because there was a certain part of the game where he was in the corner and he kept twisting up the right back, and I'm like, or the left back, and I'm like, can you just cross the ball, please? That peed me off. But yeah, without ranting too much, I don't know. It's pretty much the same. And going for tomorrow, I mean, I hope to see Cedric in that right back position. Centre back wise, I don't mind Luiz as much. Maybe Gabriel next to him. personally. Hopefully, Saka can have a better run out. Ceballos and Partey personally, but we know Granit Xhaka's going to run back in the side. Pepe, I'm okay with that. Aubameyang, maybe not. I'll probably start Lacazette. And Odegaard, of course, would be the choice instead of Ozil. But other than that, and obviously Tierney as well. So yeah, that'll probably be me. But I find it interesting when you look at Arsenal's bench. There's probably only one player that remains to be still here, and he can't even get a bloody game. And I hope he actually gets a. And I hope he gets a bloody appearance tomorrow because I can understand certain players being in front of him, but you've given them the opportunity instead of him, which I feel is really bad. And in that fixture, Arteta was procrastinating on whether, yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Ashton. It's just bringing on Martinelli in the dire moments. And it was like, no, you should have put him on in the second half of normal time. And then maybe, just maybe, we would have been able to get past Olympiacos. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. But other than that, confidence, I don't know, man. Because I'm not sure what this Olympiacos team could show us if it's any different from this team. Obviously, the boys will let us know, but I don't know. I'm just staying firmly on the ground, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's it. It's hard as an Arsenal fan, as we said just before you joined in, Ryan. Myself and Sulz were nodding in agreement, but at the same time shaking our head in amazement at some of the gains we've had this season, and like the guys were saying, Stephen and Lambros were saying that if you look at Arsenal's team on paper, we're the stronger side coming into the tie, but as I said, me and Sulz were saying on paper, we were a better side than Burnley, and we didn't beat them in 2 fixtures this season, and we've been better than a lot of teams, and we haven't got the results. So, look, Sulz, I'm going to save you for last because I know you're going to bring the fire, and I know you're going to be spitting flames here. So, Stephen, maybe you might be able to let us know, looking at that Olympiacos lineup from last season, what can we expect now this time around? I know our good friend El Arabi is still there, unfortunately, but other than that, has there been much change? And do you think you're better equipped to deal with us this time around as opposed to last time?
Oh, don't you worry. El Arabi is still there and he'll be starting. I almost guarantee it. So with regards to the team itself, there's been a bit of a personnel change since we last faced you guys. The formation will probably stay the same. It will most likely be a 4-3-3 so that we can have an extra midfielder to try and counterattack after containing you guys who will probably have most of the ball. But so Jose Sarr is still our main goalkeeper, still an excellent keeper. Our captain back then, Omar El Abdellaoui, has since gone to Galatasaray on a free transfer. So instead, we have Kenny Lala from who we signed from Strasbourg in January, who's a very, very decent player. We got him for peanuts when he was worth, I think on Transfermarkt, he was worth like 10 mil. We got him for 450 grand. So
what?
Because of the TV rights still falling through in Liga, and we just got everyone's value just dropped, so we got him for nothing.
And he was at the end of contract to a year and a half, maybe even half a year. That may have been it as well. Yeah.
And then so Hussein Obar is still going to be starting. Pape Abou Cisse scored the first goal against you guys. You'll be happy to hear he's sadly for us, he's on loan at Saint Etienne. That was due to Socrates coming to us. It's a shame because now we have no fit centre backs outside of Bayern Socrates, so that's a shame. Obviously, Gotsas Simigas, very talented Greek left back, is now at Liverpool and not getting played. And in his place is Moldovan international Oleg Rayabchuk, who's been touch and go since coming in January. Excellent player, almost the perfect fit for a replacement for Simigas. Andreas Boukalakis is still there. He's our captain now, and he's had a fantastic season. Bit of a hybrid, sort of number 6 to number 8 sort of player. Can do defending and has a good shot on him as well. Madi Camara is still there. Box to box midfielder, works hard. Also has a great shot on him. Guilherme our Brazilian player last season holding mid. He's gone to Al Sadd in Qatar, so he won't be here. We have, if you remember him, former Sunderland player Jan Via, who's been one of our players of the season. He's a metronome in defence.
Yeah, you know what? Jan Via is one of those players that every season was moving to Arsenal and it just never happened.
Yeah.
Every season we were linked with Jan Via.
I remember every season it was Jan Via, Benzema, Cavani,
Julian
Draxler, exactly. But yeah, he's been great for us. He's tended to kind of play a more of a ball playing role because that's what he's best at. He's dropped into a back three when we lose possession, and he just takes shots from outside the box whenever the ball flies out of the enemy box. He's scored a couple of ridiculous goals, which is nice. Rangelovic is Lambros' favorite player, isn't he, Lambro? You love Rangelovic.
Rangelovic is, I'm not going to swear because I keep it PG, is terrible. He is garbage. He's on the bench. Hopefully never plays. Hopefully he's gone in summer. The gates of an INTL fam knows all about Rangelovic. He's not playing tomorrow night. Thank God.
Continue, just so you know, I have the channel set to explicit because it's an
okay.
So, you know, we as Arsenal fans, we do a hell of a lot of swearing, as you can imagine. So look, if you need to say it, get it off your chest. It's not just an Arsenal channel. This is like a therapy session for us half the time. So if you need to say it, you go and say
it. Thankfully, he doesn't play all that much anymore. He only plays in like meaningless cup games. But the only move he knows how to do is kick the ball past the opponent and run for his life. He can't even get past 37-year-old Greek left fullbacks doing that. He's terrible. Anyway, Stephen, the rest of the lineup is yours.
Yeah, sure. So he won't be playing, hopefully. And instead of him on the right will be Jeffrey Bruma, who we got on loan from PSV, and he did well against his parent club in the round of 32 for the most part. And he's a lightning quick player who can get lost in games sometimes. He's probably like the B-Tech Nicola Pepe, I'd say, if I was to make a comparison for you guys.
And of course, I think Nicola Pepe is the B-Tech Nicola Pepe.
And so yeah, as I said before, El Arabi, you guys know him so well at this point. He's starting. Yeah. And then Mateo Valbuena is still here, still kicking at 36, still has the technique, still can somehow beat a man despite his age, and is great on a dead ball. So yeah, that's our team.
Yeah, I'll hop in as well. I'm gonna hit this question about the fans real quick. The fans are everything for Olympiacos, and it's kind of crazy that we're having such a great season without our fans. Well, if you look at the rest of the Greek league, and Stephen can jump in if he disagrees, but I think a lot of these Greek teams have kind of fallen apart without no fans, because the yelling, the whistles, the swearing in the stadium. If you walk in a Greek stadium in a Greek derby, it's not good for you. It's not you go outside and people shit talk you as well. So it's like, and everyone's in lockdown now. It's different. So and in the Emirates as well in that second leg, I think it was our fans that did it. I've said this a few times to the guys on our podcast. You guys did this weird thing where you opened up the away end. What a stupid decision that was. There was like 7,000 Greeks in the Emirates and making a ton of noise. And I honestly think they smelled blood the first 10 minutes. Our players were walking on Arsenal a bit, kind of, this will be a training exercise. And we had like 7,000 fans in there yelling, and they were like, we can do this, So fans are going to be big. It's been weird watching Olympiacos with no fans, because Olympiacos really is a fans club. We kind of drive our team on a lot of times. So it's going to be an impact. I'm kind of down on that, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, I'm not having a dig at the Arsenal fans, or maybe I am. I'm not even sure. I'm in two minds. I probably shouldn't even open my mouth. But like the Emirates is nicknamed the library. So, I presume not having fans would, be in our favor, because we're used to it's either silence or it's booing and jeering most of the time. So, unfortunately the players aren't exactly reacting to the lack of boos and jeers. Maybe that is what we need going forward. But Sulz, look, I guess you have the floor. What are you thinking now? Again, look, we're going to move into the game itself. If you want, look, you can kind of give me predictions on what you're expecting to see, but just your initial thoughts in comparison to the team last time around. More confident, less confident? What are you feeling?
I'm not going to say I'm more confident, but I am definitely more confident than last season, and I'll explain the reasons behind it. Now, when we look at that Benfica game, in comparison, it was similar situation to the Olympiacos game last season, where we needed a goal, we needed two to beat the tie, and one to we needed the two to go through. And the one thing that we did was stuck to the game plan, which is what we didn't do against Olympiacos. We went gun-ho. We lost our game plan. We lost our train of thought. And that ultimately will lose you games. As much as people think, bringing on the likes of like a Martin, bringing these direct players on wins you games, it can actually very much so do the opposite and lose you a game. And that's what we've seen against Olympiacos, because what happened was we were so focused on getting that goal that we forgot to defend. Now, what we did differently to Benfica was, as much as we did that, we also understood we needed those goals, but we were structurally well planned out. We were slowing the game down. We were playing it at our tempo, which is what you need to do when you need a goal. So, when I say I'm more confident, I don't mean I'm being cocky and we've won this, but I feel like Arteta's getting it tactically right. And I've said this to you, Anthony, so many occasions. Do you know what our problem has always been? We lose our identity in games, but that's what Arteta is trying to get back. When we look at that, the problem is we're not consistent. That's the key word that you put with Arsenal, is we're not consistent. And when we can get that, trust me when I tell you, right, give Arteta the players he wants. He will make us English champions. I'm not saying when it'll happen, but he will do it because he has the tactics. He has the tactical know-how. The only problem is we have bottle jobs. We have losers in this team. People who don't want to win, that have every excuse. They're victims. They have this victim mentality. They always think that, it's not our fault that this happened, that happened, the wind blew the game away. It's like, just stop crying and win the game. We've got Aubameyang, we've got, Bukayo Saka, we've got Nicola Pepe, players with absolute, talent that have won these games before. We've got Mr. Europa League in Nicola Pepe. We've got Martinelli. We've got players who can change this game. And do you know what we've done? We've added Thomas Partey to that. He is different. He is absolute different gravy. This man is disrespected playing in the Europa League. This is child's play to the guy because he is a Champions League player. He's in a Champions League winning team is where he needed to be. And he comes because he believes in Arteta's game plan. He believes in what Arteta wants to do. And that's what I'm seeing from the team. Arteta, right, is one of those managers who's got this team believing in what he wants to do. And what I've seen from Emery and Wenger is the reality of the matter is this: the players want to be here. As much as even the players who are out of the door are being professional. When's the last time we've had that? When players are looking out of the team, they want out. Look at Ozil, stopped performing, started going on Twitter, criticizing the club. Mustafi started doing the same, opening his mouth up. Now we've got players who are simply wanting to be there and don't slag the club off. Even William Saliba, yes, he's made some digs at them, but the one thing he hasn't done is completely slag the team off. Even if we look at Gabriel Martinelli, not getting game time, justified or not, I don't know, because we don't know why the reason is. But has he come out and kind of aired his concerns? No. Because now we've gotten out the people we needed to get out. The toxicity of this team is gone. And that's why I do believe we're getting there, but it's about finding consistency. And the one thing I want to say about the Benfica game, people came out and said, why aren't we going for the goal? Why aren't we urgent? That's what you need to do. The biggest teams in the world, right, don't go for goal. They play to their game plan because guess what? You believe in it. Because that's what you're drilled to do. You shouldn't be plan B. You should be plan A. And that's why I love what Arteta's doing. Because I'm telling you, if people said, why didn't Pepe come on? Why didn't Martinelli come on earlier? Why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? He's learned from the Olympiacos game. And I don't know whether the Olympiacos fans are agreeing with, when you go gun-ho, you expose yourselves at the back. And that's where he's getting the tactics right. We had two centre-backs always back, or we had a midfielder drop into that role. And then we allowed the rest of the team to be attacking. So we attacked in 5 and defended in 5. And that simply brings you the structure and the balance to go forward and allow the numbers to commit. But the minute you start to bring one centre back, which is what we had against Olympiacos last season, and we had about 9 players in the box, what does that do? The second Olympiacos get that ball back, they can just go. And they do have the pace. They have the players. Valbuena is clever enough to understand how you're going to do that. And that is simply, right, how you're going to now need to play. That's why I say be patient. That's simply how we're going to win the game.
Oh, Sulz. Whew. Every time, Sulz. Every time. And you know what? Like, this glass of water was full until you started there, and it just evaporated there. Just, you know what? Every time you go on these rants, I mesmerize, and then I'm like, I don't know even what to say now. I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. Yeah, but Sulz. Yeah, look, exactly. And that's the show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. See you later. Oh man,
I guess I'll try to jump in, you know. And what you're explaining about this game plan is something we know well at Olympiacos. Pedro Martins is a manager you're going to hear from really soon. If he's not gone from Olympiacos this summer, he's gone real soon. He is probably the best manager I've seen at Olympiacos, and the pressure is high. People like to make jokes, Farmers League, Greek League is crap, blah, blah, blah. And that means Olympiacos can't lose, and Olympiacos can't win playing shit football. They have to play amazing football. Leonardo Jardim, the coach of Monaco that went far into the Champions League, was undefeated with Olympiacos and got fired because the football was crap. Undefeated, and he got fired at Olympiacos. The pressure is incredible at this club, and he doesn't. And if there's a poor result or a draw in Greece against the Greek derby team, which is really difficult games, these derby games in Greece, you guys may have seen the pictures, the flares and all of that, and the craziness are difficult to win. The environment is hostile. He sticks to the game plan. There's no shifting from any game plan. It's 4-3-3, midfield's tight, and we go and try to snatch a goal or two, and that's the game plan in the big games. And to be honest with you, it works. It's worked in Greece. We win almost every derby. And when the Champions League campaign, I was explaining to you guys off camera, a lot of your fans are probably going to see that Champions League campaign and say, this team is crap. Like, they got bossed around in the Champions League. This is not the same Olympiacos team. I promise you all. We had injury problems. We had real COVID problems. We didn't have a striker for 2 or 3 of those Champions League games, guys. So it's a different team, and it's going to be a really difficult game for you guys. And Benfica may have the name, and people know Benfica. They have a big club. They have a big budget. I just want to remind you, Benfica came to Greece and got bossed by PAOK, team 4th place in the Greek league right now. It was early in the season, but we watch Greek teams in Europe. I don't know, Stephen. They didn't impress me. They didn't look like any sort of real threat to me. And PAOK is in 4th place, and they're not having a great season whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, just to jump on that quickly, we were so excited because despite the fact we are Olympiacos fans first, when it comes to Greek teams qualifying for Europe, it's important currently because of the coefficient like rankings and where we are currently, because currently Greece are 20th, which is not where we want to be. I mean, if you look back to the early to mid 2000s, we were 6th place, and where Portugal are now. We were the 6th best league in Europe at one point, and to see how far we've fallen now, like, we want to see these Greek teams be at a level in Europe where they can compete and get those important points to get us to the place where Greek football probably, I wouldn't say should be, because that would imply that we deserve to be there now, which we don't necessarily do, but it would be good for us to get to a better place where we can get more qualifying, where we can get more places in Europe first and foremost, because we don't even have a Europa League place now. We have Champions League first qualifying round, and the other 4 places are European Conference League, which is ridiculous. And so we want our teams to qualify for Europe more consistently. We want them to get to a further stage in Europe. And Olympiacos, unfortunately, I mean, whether people like it or not, have kind of had to carry the Greek coefficient for the vast majority of of last decade, because Greek teams in Europe just haven't been performing. So yeah, it's a real issue for Greek football at the moment.
Yeah, well, look, as you were talking there about Benfica and saying, yeah, like they got bossed when they went to Greece. Definitely, I wasn't overly impressed by that Benfica side, and Arsenal made very, very hard work of those players. That was one on paper that I looked at and I said, okay, the name Benfica, it's a big name, and they do have some good individual players, but I'll be honest, I was writing them off a little bit, and especially after the first leg, I sort of said, you know what, they haven't got enough about them to actually hurt Arsenal. I'm not being disrespectful in any way to Olympiacos, but prior to that game, I probably would have, viewed Olympiacos the same, and I would have said, you know what, Arsenal's biggest problem, which has been most of this season, our biggest problem is ourselves, because it's constant individual errors, and that's one of my biggest fears. And again, like, Olympiacos are a much better side than I was previously giving them credit for. And any side that is in halfway capable, Arsenal are more than likely going to hand you some kind of opportunity. So it's just whether or not, the side is capable of taking it. So that's one of my biggest fears. But I want to kind of I want to get a bit of insight. I know you've talked to us a little bit about, players that are at the club and players that have moved on, and that. What I'd like to know is, as Arsenal fans, who should we be wary of? We know all about El Arabi and that, but who would be the danger men that we need to be wary of? And then at the same time, what would be, in your opinions, the weaknesses that Arsenal should be looking to exploit? And then what I'll do is I'll move on to Ryan and Sulz, and you can give your thoughts on the Arsenal danger men, and where we need to tighten up and what we should be concerned about. So yeah, a couple of names, what we can expect, and then where's the weak areas? What's Arsenal's best chance of getting a result here?
Yeah, I'll start off. Weakness is clear for Olympiacos this season. We've conceded 13 goals since the winter break, 10 set pieces. That's where it is. The corners, the set pieces. I don't know what has gone on, but that's where it's been. And comments that Ruben Semedo is probably the best player in Greece. I agree with that. He's the top player, and he's out for these games. He's top. So it's definitely the set pieces are our weakness. Our defense is quite good in open play, and it's going to be hard to break down. But those set pieces have given us trouble. This guy Sahavi for PSV, we made look world class, and he was great in the air, great on the set piece. And anyway, strengths and names. You guys need to know the name of Madi Camara. I think this is a player you're going to be seeing real soon in England, maybe even Spain or Italy. A player who's very physically talented, and he's gotten very much better technically, box-to-box midfielder. And Olympiacos rates him at 25 million euros. Fiorentina came in for 20 in the summer, and Olympiacos told them no. So he's a top player, and he has nonstop running in him. And I guess going on from there, this kid Oleg Rayachuk, who has come in and essentially replaced. This is we were looking for the Kostas Tsimikas replacement. We've been calling it. He's replaced Kostas Tsimikas, and I dare to say he's near that level. He's a Porto Academy. He's Moldovan international. Would you say, oh, Moldovan international? He grew up in Portugal. I guess he grew up in the Porto Academy. He knows how to play football. This kid. He's fast and he's quite good. I would look out for him on your guys' right side. I know that right back position with Cedric or Bellerin, whoever may start, they're not always considered the best defensively. Oleg coming over for the overlap with Bruma, who of course is extremely fast. If you guys have ever seen this guy play, he's on the counter. A ball over the top. He's quick. He could lead to problems as well. And then it always has to be said, Kostas Fortounis, he didn't play last time in that second leg. He had a blow up with Pedro Martins, and he's a star player. He's the star of the Greek national team. Been the star of Olympiacos for 5-6 years now. He's a fantastic player. He's loved at the club. But he had a blow up a week before training because he didn't play against PAOK in the second leg against Arsenal, and Pedro Martins told him, "You stay home in Greece," and we went through against you guys without our star player. Well, he's in good form, and the manager's happy with him these days. It's either him or Valbuena, but both of them are fantastic players, and Valbuena from a set piece is good, and we've got good players in the air. So I would say you need to watch out from those Valbuena or Fortuny set pieces because they're good. And El Arabi, Ba, and Socrates, of course, you guys know is decent in the air. So I would say those are the danger areas for us. And weakness is definitely the set pieces.
Yeah. No, that's great to know. Stephen, anything you wanna add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to touch something that Sol said earlier about tactics and how you need to stick to your tactics, and this is kind of where it also leads on to Kostas Fortounis, because he is a generational talent for Greece. Like he's the best talent of Greece's generation currently, and the fact that he doesn't start in Europe just says it all when it comes to the tactics, because he at the end of the day, as talented as he is a number 10. And as much as I would love to see us just play 4-2-3-1, which is what we do tend to play in Greece, and just outpossess people, outshoot people, and Kostas Fortounis is in the middle of the pitch doing his thing. We can't do that because we are left exposed, because we'll then have two centre midfielders, and then we're going to get absolutely dominated in the centre of the park. Hence why he doesn't start. But when he comes on, which is what was quite valuable, extremely valuable when we played PSV in the last round, is that he came on as an impact sub. And both times he came on, he impacted the game positively by having that last 30 minutes to run at the opposing team and just try to do anything possible to score or create a chance. And he knows that he's as talented as he's touted, but even he's happy to stay on the bench and play the system now, because he's got over, the tiff of being the big player, and because no one's bigger than the club ultimately. And I'm glad that he's kind of fit into that system in Europe, because he knows he'll play. It's just how we deploy him, and so that's why he can be a danger man for us.
Yeah, no, look at again. This is exactly why I love to have the insight from the guys who know the club best. It's nice. It adds something going into the game, because now I'm going to be looking at these players differently, and I'm going to be remembering what you said, and it's pretty cool now, because there's a couple of guys in there that you mentioned that I wouldn't have been overly aware of. So yeah, again, this is why it's good to hear from the horse's mouth, as they say. Ryan, in terms of Arsenal, we're going to pretend we're speaking to a lot of people who don't watch Arsenal, and we're going to break it down. And you could be here for a couple of hours trying to break down Arsenal's weaknesses. But do you want to give a quick thought on where do we need to be careful, and where do Olympiacos need to be concerned, if anywhere, from an Arsenal perspective?
Let's just talk about our negatives first, because it can just roll off the tongue so naturally. More so the right hand side, he covered it very well, especially if you're playing Bellerin, more so than Cedric. I feel Bellerin, he just lapses in concentration. He can easily be beaten around, and depending on who we play as centre backs as well, can be an issue, can be potentially. But more so that right back side, I feel if you stop our transition, even though it's quite slow as it is, then you can get at us quite easily. When you look at the likes of, like I said, Xhaka in that midfield, if you've got Xhaka and El Neni, that's too safe. With Brighton, you win. And this is the problem, especially when you're playing Xhaka, who takes about 45 minutes to fucking turn around and pass the ball. Sorry for swearing. Oh yeah, you said it's explicit, so it's cool. So this is like this last time, boys. This is what happens. Okay, when you look at Xhaka, like that's an issue as well. But it's just our chances. Like we just waste our chances sometimes. If you look at our previous games, Burnley, Benfica in the first leg, hell, even the first leg against you guys last Europa League campaign. I mean, we do not take on chances, and creativity is also an issue at times. We got Martin Odegaard, which come in as a backup, which is good. But before him and Smith Rowe, Smith Rowe is more likely going to be out. We struggle. We struggle, regardless of Willian decided to show up now. It's not consistent, and that's our issue. Our problem. Which our transition is just so slow, and they turn it on when they feel like it, and that's an issue for me. Now, where we can be dangerous is if Saka's moving better than he did against Burnley. Aubameyang or Lacazette are taking their chances, especially Aubameyang. If he could get back into the form he was from last season, then you guys might be in trouble. But also to that, I just feel like Kieran Tierney, if he's on form as well, he can prick out a cross and deliver it quite well. I think really and truly, It's just our attackers. Our attackers. That's mainly it, really. You know what I mean? Like, those are the guys that are the dangers, and they just need to be consistent. That, for me, that's all I can really say. Other than that, yeah. And Mikel needs to play the right people in the midfield, because the midfield is literally the detriment of our issues. We can talk about the right back as well, but that and the midfield, main issues for me. So yeah.
Could I jump in from last year? That midfield three of Ozil, Ceballos, and Xhaka. I remember in the second leg, Stephen can jump on this. When we as Olympiacos fans, and we talked about this after the game, felt like we can do this, is we were seeing walking and misplaced passing, and that's not Olympiacos' midfield. I told you about Mari Camara. This kid does not stop running. And when we saw that, that is when we thought we had a chance. The midfield is so key to Olympiacos, and the Ceballos, Xhaka, and especially when Ozil was there was just no running, I guess you could even say. And it left things open for us. Partey changed all of that. I think Sulz said it earlier about Partey. This guy's top class player. And that for me, the biggest thing between last year and this year is that midfield three, whether it be Smith Rowe, Partey, and Xhaka, or if it's Odegaard, it's different sauce, I guess they say in the UK. It's a different sauce. It's just much better. That midfield three in the second leg was not good. It gave us again all of the thought, we can do it, and that's what we need. That's what we needed.
Yeah, you know what?
100%.
That trio you mentioned there, like it's so lethargic. You know, it's so lethargic, and that's what I'm hoping. Look, we know it's a given. Granit Xhaka's gonna play. We know that. The guy is always fit, ready, and available to play. And you know, Arteta owes him a favour for whatever reason. So we know he's going to play, no matter what you think of him. But Odegaard, Smith Rowe, that's a very different a very different prospect to, I think, what Mesut Ozil was going to give you. You know, Ozil, obviously, it was all about his football IQ, not so much, you know, getting about the pitch. Whereas I think, you know, we have a bit of that with Odegaard and with Smith Rowe. You know, they've got the football and IQ. They're still very much in development, of course, but you know, they've got a bit of an engine on them as well. You know, and they've got a bit of pace, and you know, they're not afraid to move about. You know, the bit of, you know, creativity. They will spread themselves about the pitch a bit more than you would have got out of Ozil. And again, Thomas Partey, in my eyes, is the closest thing I know it's very, very early days, but the closest thing I think we've had to a Patrick Vieira-esque player. And it's not just because of, you know, his build and that. I just think even the way he moves, and I actually reshared a highlight video of, you know, some of Patrick Vieira's best bits, and it was more his attacking best bits I shared on Twitter the other night. And I can just see the movement and how press resistant he was. And Thomas Partey, for me, is they're quite similar in that sense, you know. So it's the first time in a long time we've had a player like that. I think maybe Abu Diaby was about the closest, and again, it wasn't just, you know, he was in almost the mold of him. You know, he had that build, and tall, gangly sort of player, but he did move quite similar. So yeah, I'm definitely excited at the prospect of a different midfield setup. But yeah, as Albert was pointing out in the chats there, our back four, we need a bit of consistency with that. You know, it seems to be every game, and Sulz, I'm going to let you take over here, but you know, it seems to be a new back four almost every week, and I think it's almost the area of the pitch you want to be starting with. You know, consistency wise, you want to be forming partnerships and understanding. You know, is Arteta setting himself back by not just sticking with a partnership, allowing it to develop? You know, we're chopping and changing every single week, and I get the rotation and that, but this is going on all season.
Yeah, I think it's partly Arteta and partly injuries and COVID that have got to play in this. Obviously, you know, Gabriel then got COVID and a little niggly injury and stuff like that with this red card and everything. honestly, I've said there's two positions on the pitch, especially with the way Arsenal played, that you need to keep consistent. That's your centre backs and your CDMs, because we play a two pivot. If them two positions are not consistent enough, we are going to see issues developing. If you then have 1 week where we have Partey, Ceballos, and then the next week you have Partey, Xhaka, and then you have Xhaka and Ceballos, you're never gonna find a solid structure, because they all are different types of players. Now, when it comes to kind of like our threats or our sort of strong areas, we need to stick to the game plan that we know Arteta wants to deploy, which is these overlapping attacking wing backs with our wingers turning in, with Odegaard supporting us within the runs. Because I've always said, if you're going to break these top teams down, the fine margins are your off-ball movements. Now, the person on the ball isn't the threat. It's people around the ball that are going to cause that threat to happen. And that's simply what we didn't see against Burnley, but we've seen against Leicester. And now I'm not saying that the players who played at Leicester should be playing in this game. It will be your Sakas, your Aubameyangs, your Pepes, that will play this game. And they're going to be absolutely influential. Now, I've said it how many more times, right? This season, are we going to let these tackers off with 6-7 chances and scoring 1 goal? That's the 23rd time this season alone we've scored 1 goal. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I've underestimated the number. I've definitely not done a higher number. I know that for a fact. It's a bare minimum of 23 times scored 1 goal. That's not good enough for Arsenal. Arsenal are traditionally a team that score goals whenever the hell they want to score them. They can turn it on, turn it off whenever the hell they want to do it. And this season, you know what? Creativity isn't the issue. Our lack of finishing has caused us a lot of problems. Now, Aubameyang needs to turn up. Saka also needs to turn up. I know he has been, but his finishing has been shocking. And I don't like calling him out, but I have to say that, because I'm one of those, I'm going to be as fair as I possibly can be. I don't just criticize one player for doing it and then allow the other because he does everything else right. His finishing needs to improve. And that's the one key area that I always criticize him on. And if he gets that, mate, he can be in the conversations with the Mbappes and your Fodens, and because that's how good he is. And I do think Olympiacos really need to keep an eye on him. But you know what we also need to do? As much as he's our threat, he can be the quietest man on the pitch because people are going to kick him. That's where you need your leaders to step up. That's when you need your senior players to give him the ability and open that space for him to do what he needs to do. So that's why when people talk about Bellerin, I don't want to see Bellerin play because his runs are not good enough. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bad player, this, that, the other, because I'm not going to slag a player as long as he wears an Arsenal top. Now, my simple problem with him is he makes inside runs, whereas you need outside runs. You need overlapping runs, not underlapping runs. And that's simply what his major problem is, because that centre area is for the number 10 to find, not for a Bellerin. And that's why I do think Cedric needs to play this game. And in terms of the pace, and I know that's what Olympiacos are saying, that, one ball over the top. I know Cedric might not be the quickest, but I do think his defensive positioning is far greater, that his pace doesn't matter too much. And we've seen that this season. And also he offers that attacking threat. He can not only just cross the ball, but he can actually strike the ball very well. And then, obviously, Saka I can talk about all day. I can talk about the guy. I can make a whole stream on him. He is the wonder kid. He is the man that God said, you know what? You've been suffering for long enough, mate. He's hand gifted us Saka and said, you know what, kids? Here you go. Have Saka from me. So some of that pain and suffering can end. That is Bukayo Saka for us. He is the saviour of Arsenal. And I've said this is Saka FC versus Olympiacos. The man needs a spa day because his back is in pain, carrying this great club, because that is simply what it is. And I'm sorry to say, and I know Aubameyang scored some crucial goals, but Saka is just different. He is so good. He is the best player on that pitch, and I don't care what Olympiacos fans want to say. He is, in my opinion, the best man on the pitch whenever he plays. 8s, 9s in a team like this, man, the guy's different. And then, you know what? I do think someone like a Nicola Pepe needs to come in, because we need someone who's unpredictable. That's just going to give you something. You're going to be like, where the hell did that come from? Because a player like Pepe, as bad and as good as he's been, he's one of those that you can't really prepare for because you don't know what he's going to do. So that's where I think the threat's going to come. And I think just finish. For once in your lives, don't make a mistake and finish your goddamn chances. If you want to win this game, we should have finished the first leg against Olympiacos. We talk about, the story of our season is, We create the chances. We create everything, but we just don't want to finish it. I don't understand. You know, Pepe, right, frustrates me because guess what? Footballers, unless I've got it all wrong, aren't footballers meant to be paid to kick the ball? Why is this guy missing the ball? Why is he just like, oh, wait, shit, the ball's gone? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. So, you know, I think the key is Arsenal will always beat themselves. I don't think this season especially, we haven't been beaten. We beat ourselves. We beat ourselves into mistakes. We pressure ourselves into mistakes. And they're so stupid. You get taught at the age of 2, 3 not to do those things. And we've got professional Premier League standard players making those very mistakes that I got taught when I was 4 or 5 not to make. When in doubt, clear the ball. What do? Oh yeah, we'll go make a great assist for for the opposition instead. We've got brilliant playmakers, but just not for Arsenal. They like to create for the other team. So unless, we do some sort of psychological, thing to them where they see different colors from our players and they finally start to play those balls that they're playing to the opposition, we might have a chance. Yeah, that's all I've got to say on that.
Are you sure? Sure. Anyone?
Yeah, otherwise, I'll end up going to the point where I might not be able to return because I'm going to be like, yeah, we've got this and we're going to batter them 7-0. That's the point I was getting to.
I know. So,
I guess I have an Arsenal-related question for you guys. So Olympiacos loves the overlapping fullbacks. You kind of got onto that during the rant. We love the overlapping fullbacks. We love crossing the ball. We love playing out wide. But you know who else loves to do that? Arsenal loves to do that. They have some of the most crosses in all of the Premier League. How do we think that's going to look? You guys press quite high as well and play out on the wings. That's going to be probably one of the biggest battles, I think. Olympiacos will probably go down the left with Bruma, with Fortunis, who I think may start. The reports in Greece say start. Fortunis drifting over and combining with Oleg Reobchuk, the fullback we love, and Bruma, that's going to, and El Arabi in the box, Kamara making runs in the box. I think that's big game plan for Pedro Martins. We're going to have to see. How do you see that going? How's that gone with other teams this season?
Bruma, I think
I know about Bruma. To say how we'll set up is the United game at Old Trafford. Because United do a similar thing where they have overlapping and attacking wing backs. And the way that we set up against teams like that is we take a yard back. We step a little bit back so we don't have such a high line against those teams. And we sort of absorb pressure a lot. And then we try to be a counter-attacking team instead. And it does suit us a lot of times as well against teams such as that like to overlap and do that. We become a lethargic team, but that's due to tactical reasons rather than actually just being slow. And we bide our time. And then what we do is we hit you quicker than you think we can. And I think that's the way I believe, especially in the first leg, I think that's how Arteta's going to stick to that sort of game plan.
But you know what, Sulz? I'll quickly say this. Even with that United game at Old Trafford, United set up wrong. And it gave us the more advantage. We went there with a 4-2-3-1. They came with a diamond. And that's what messed it up. Olympiacos ain't going to play with no diamond. I don't believe. You know what I'm saying? So this is the issue. So as we like to do, press a little bit high. We have to worry about that counter. Like I said, Bruma is a quick player. He's a very fast player. And Cedric's gonna have to do all he can to try and hold him up. Pepe's gonna have to, if he's starting, he's gonna have to do his best to try and catch him. Trust me. So I think the best thing for us to do is just try to play through them as best as we can. I don't know what you guys are like when it comes to teams trying to play through you and that. But on the wings, that is going to be a battle. But I see us still trying to play through the wings. That's my only issue. So it could be a tight one. I will say that.
Do you think, lads, in terms of Arteta's selection, we know he likes, as much as we're going to disagree with Arteta, he seems to fancy Willian on the wing for, I don't know whether it's a case of it's, maybe the lesser of two evils when it comes to Willian and Pepe. Arteta seems to feel that obviously Willian is the slightly more defensive-minded, harder working player. If Olympiacos are a team that like to set up that way and, hit on the break, play down the line, are we going to see, we might see Pepe sat on the bench. And who are we going to see at right back? Is he going to play Bellerin? Is it going to be Cedric? We know Tierney's a given. Tierney's going to be our left back. We might have, maybe Bukayo Saka is going to occupy maybe the right wing. And then the left side is up for grabs. Then, who do you play that's going to give you that work rate defensively? Because we've kind of only got Bukayo Saka, whether you put him on the right or the left. So maybe he's going to go with a Willian, is he? I would like to see Pepe.
I don't think he will. I think what he's going to do is Saka on the right to give Cedric the support in terms of pace. And I think what he's going to then do is on the left-hand side, I believe Tierney's got that covered on his own. And I know that's a bold statement to make, but I do believe he's defensively good enough to handle that. And I think what Arteta and Pep Guardiola both like to do is have one of their sort of defensive midfielders slot into the wing-back positions. So they become essentially your further up sided defender, whether it's on the right or the left. They kind of switch depending on where the attacks are coming from, and they're going to give that support to. And I think what he's going to do is going to get Saka to become the support to the right hand side, and then give like a Xhaka or a Partey that role to go and support the left hand side to allow a Pepe to play. Because I feel like in a game like this, you need that. As much as you want to focus on your defense, you need to know how you're going to go forward once that ball comes to you. And I feel like when it comes to Willian, he's not quick enough to transition. Whereas with a Pepe, he can get that ball and just run. He's got the ability to take a man on, maybe even two men on, and then pick a right pass as well. And Willian does that very well. And that's why I think if you can merge the two, that's the perfect winger for Pepe. He needs aspect of Willian's game that Pepe doesn't have. Like the final product, I don't think is just there yet. He is making more right decisions, but I feel like there's still aspects to his game where he's shooting instead of passing, where that's the balance he needs to find. But you need a player that's unpredictable. Aubameyang's a very predictable player. Saka's becoming a predictable player. People are starting to realize how you stop. Not his fault, but he's young and he's not physical enough. And that's obviously with time that will come. But obviously because it's his first sort of full season where he's been relied upon this much, it's going to take him maybe another season to get that physicality, to understand, okay, when a player's kicking me, what do I do? And that's why I think Pepe would be a better option to start with anyway, and then bringing a Willian on if you absolutely need to.
So basically what you're saying is to improve Pepe, he needs to grow a Willian afro, is what you're saying.
One thing I will say to that, sorry, the one thing, and this is what Arteta did point out in the reason why he brought Willian on instead of Martinelli and Pepe in the Benfica game. And this is one thing that Willian can do that Pepe can't do. And that's kind of come out of tight spaces. And that's another thing. Remember I said to you guys earlier, I was getting annoyed at Pepe for against Olympiacos in that home fixture that we had, because he kept dribbling past man at the edge of the pot, and he just couldn't. He just tried to get past him rather than trying to box it in, and that. He was caught up in a tight space and he didn't know what to do. And I feel with Pepe, that's something he needs to start learning. And hopefully, fingers crossed, he will start to learn that. So when he starts to get out of tight spaces and, gets a little bit better on the end product situation, then we can kind of see Pepe blossom into a better player. That's all I have to say about that. As well as Saka with the end product as well. That's another situation. I think that is why they even went for Willian in the first place, because he's got so much experiences and he can do certain things that some of the wingers that we have can't do. Do you know what I mean? As much as we get at Willian, because he's getting on. He hasn't really done that much. He's very, very, very inconsistent, and that's it. And I mean, the proof to the pudding for what Willian has pretty much produced. I mean, quite a bit of assists, no goals, and only recently Willian's only started to get in a rhythm now. But how sustainable is that? Same as Pepe. Don't get me wrong, Pepe's really starting to come into his own. But how sustainable is that? Saka's only had one bad game out of God knows how many, man. Saka's always been the light in this team. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see who he picks as the wingers. I personally think Saka and Pepe is going to be the choices, but I could be wrong. We know Arteta. He's unpredictable as well when he comes to his lineups too. We talk about our players being predictable. The managers are unpredictable. And you know what they say? The team is supposed to reflect the manager. Unpredictable Arsenal, but sometimes predictable.
Which is so
you know,
strange.
there's a saying in Manchester, right? I think in FPL as well. It's Pep roulette, and now it's become Arteta roulette. There's 2 managers in the Premier League that you have no idea what team is going to play.
And can I jump in from Olympiacos' perspective? We can tell you the starting 11 right now. There's no roulette. There is literally no. There's one question. Will Valbuena or Fortunis play? That's it. Literally, Pedro Martins has like 16 players. That's it. The rest maybe get the cup games. Winning his trust is near impossible. So you guys saying, "Oh my God, which winger's going to play? Which winger's going to play? Maybe a different fullback." Like, I don't think we've had a conversation like that. It makes our show very easy. It's just like, this is starting 11. What do we think, guys? You know, so we don't have these discussions really. But maybe it's a Portuguese manager.
No, do you know what? I think it's just down to. Sorry, I know you want to jump in, but I think it's just down to our manager. Of course, he's a rookie. You know what I mean? I don't know much about your manager, to be honest, and how long he's been.
He's not a rookie. He's been at Olympiacos for 3 years.
He's an experienced one now.
Yeah.
Well then, okay, so there you go. So he's found his team. He's found the right place he can trust. Our manager hasn't. He's been in for like a season and a half. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is the issue, and we find a problem with no consistency with picking the back line, the midfield, the forward line. All these players are all mix and match, and it's not good, and this is a problem. We don't have a settled team. So when we're going into games with high magnitude and we don't even have like a settled team, that's one thing I give with Wenger. He had settled teams even if we were getting thrashed around sometimes. He kept it settled. Even top players we don't like still make it. A little bit similar to Arteta now, but Arteta's always chop change. And that's what you can't do. So when you've got players that are not settled enough, and it's just not going to work. This is our problem. So that's why I'm looking at this game and every other game for the rest of the season, like, you know. So hey, it is what it is, man.
I mean, if I could jump in quickly, from what it sounds like, it just sounds like you guys really, like us, at the beginning of the season, really missed out on a pre-season, which is what everyone, because of the COVID situation, everyone did. But it seems as though maybe, and this is no guarantee, but maybe Arteta would have found more of a settled team and more of a settled squad that he could definitely say, right, you're going and you're going and you're going, and you might play FA Cup, League Cup, whatever, or Europa League group stages. And maybe that could be a reason, perhaps, because I remember with Olympiacos and Lambros can attest, there was a time where we may have a smaller squad, but at the same time, it wasn't completely settled because pre-season just wasn't really a thing for us, and so it seemed quite lethargic. It took a while for us to get going properly. You'd have certain performances that just were a bit dull, and nothing seemed to be quite connecting. And we were lucky enough that we were in a league where it is admittedly less competitive, so we had the time, we had the teams that we could compete against, so it would be okay, this worked, so we're going to stick with that. And then by the time we got to the big games against Benfica, against BAL, against AEK, we could then have our concrete starting 11 to then compete and go for the title again. And it's the same in Europe. We weren't settled in the Champions League, hence why we scraped one victory and got to the Europa League on 3 points, which is ludicrous for most of the time. And now it's different.
It's so true. Olympiacos, they do this preseason thing where we bring, like, I don't know, it's probably the same for you guys, like 35 players, and they go out to Austria, and the coach has waves. Like every few weeks, 5 players go. Usually it's young Greek kids get sent to like other Greek teams or the Netherlands, blah blah blah. And we didn't have that this year, and everyone was like, which Greek kid is going to a Greek league? Oh, wait, is this Greek kid actually good for Olympiacos? Which there were a few. And so it was a bit strange because we didn't have, and Champions League qualifiers came like that. We had to play a 4th round game, and it was it was really, really difficult for Olympiacos. And I with a new coach, and then Arteta got the COVID break and had a mess with all of that. A preseason's pretty big, and no, for sure, I think that's a fair point by Stephen. We talk about it a bit as well for our podcast.
Yeah, definitely a lot to be said for, coach having that adequate time to sort of assess the players. Look, in terms of any consistency with our lineup, we know Granit Xhaka is going to play, and that's about it. Anything after that is a complete guessing game, which is why a lot of the time I don't actually ask when I have Arsenal fans on the panel. I generally don't even ask, who are we going to see in the starting lineup, because you literally cannot predict it. We could win a game, comfortably, and he would still bring in different players for the next game. And it's not that often we see the same consistent lineup. I think the only time we ever really tend to see the same players is when we've had a bad performance. He tends to leave the same guys in, and I don't know whether it's a way of saying, look, you owe me a performance here, or whatever. But lads, no, this has been absolutely brilliant. So look, I'm going to start wrapping it up now, but just before I do, I'm going to just make my way around, and I'm going to ask for a score prediction. So, Sulz, I'm going to start with you first.
It's going to be... I'm going to go with a 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. And for anyone who doesn't know, I know a lot of people do know, but for Lambros and Stephen and Ryan, I'm sure you've probably seen, Sulz has picked up the nickname Mystic Sulz. Actually, Sulz, I'm running out of space on my A4 page here of nicknames that we have for you at this stage. But Mystic Sulz, because he generally predicts the goal scorer. He generally picks a player for Arsenal that's going to show up on the night. You got Pepe the last time, and you had Aubameyang the time before. Are you going to be bold and give us a name for tomorrow that we can expect?
So usually the way it goes is the unpredicted, star. So not your Saka, because obviously we know he's going to turn up. So it's usually someone like a Xhaka or a Pepe or an Aubameyang, someone who's had a bad season but will turn up. And I do think this game, my feeling, it's a weird feeling, but I do think it's going to be the Odegaard masterclass.
So you heard it here first. Mystic Sulz has predicted an Odegaard masterclass and a 2-1 win for Arsenal. Lambros, I'd imagine you're not going to agree.
No, the thing is, as Olympiacos fans, we're kind of split. There's the pessimists and they're the optimists. There's the guys who said, God damn it, we screwed these guys over last year and they've come back for us. We're screwed. And then the other guys who are like, we've done this before. Let's go it again. Is their team really that much different? They're struggling in the league, blah, blah, blah. I'm more in the pessimist camp. I think the team is, for me, better talent-wise. But still, I think coming to Greece isn't easy. We still have, I don't know, we play good at home. I'm going to go 2-1 Olympiacos, and I'm going to go with the Socrates masterclass. I'm sorry. I guess I'll answer with that. A goal for Socrates, and he only lets in one goal, I guess. We'll say that.
Yeah, I don't mind the Socrates masterclass in the second leg, as long as we win 5-0 tomorrow, and you can have a masterclass in the second leg, and we get a 0-0 draw, and he can be man of the match. It's fine. Ryan, what are you thinking?
Well, on my preview, I said 2-1. I still stick with 2-1 Arsenal. I mean, Olympiacos, listen, they're a difficult side, and you just heard the boys there. They just said it straight. They think their team's a lot better, which means it's going to be a lot tougher. You know what I mean? And like we already talked about, our midfield transition's quite slow, and Eric, we don't know who's going to be right back, for crying out loud. So I'm going with 2-1. I'm just being safe. Hope we can get out there, some away goals, and then, fingers crossed for the home leg. Just being honest, guys. Just being honest.
You know what? I'm having. Yeah.
One more thing. I thought Sulz was going to pick Willian for some bizarre reason instead of.
I don't think he's going to play. Unfortunately, that's why.
Right. So you would have gone with him instead if that was the case.
I do think he suits a game like this. Odegaard. No, I think this is an Odegaard game.
Right.
Yeah, I reckon Odegaard to get the nod, because Smith Rowe's only sort of just back training, isn't he? So I wouldn't imagine he'd be rushed. And Stephen, finally, what do you think?
Well, I wasn't a super excited Olympiacos fan to get us all super pessimistic. I was in the middle. I found it hilarious because this will be the 11th and 12th time we played you, which will be joint most for you with Bayern Munich, and it'll be joint most for us. And the team we have faced 12 times is Juventus. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I can certainly see Arsenal winning this, but I'm going to go with Lambros and say 2-1 Olympiacos. And yeah, I hope for the best. I really, really do.
Yeah, look, I said I was on a panel last night, and again, do you know what? I don't like when I'm feeling confident, because generally when I feel confident, that's when it backfires, because I was pretty confident against Burnley in our last game, and we all saw what played out there. So as much as I want to say I'm not confident, and Olympiacos are going to win 3-0, which means in reality Arsenal are probably going to win 2-0. But no, my gut feeling.
Oh my God! Oh, I'm so sorry. Messi just scored an absolute banger. Oh my day! Oh, sorry guys. I'm so sorry.
Comeback's on. You're watching.
Oh my God.
Imagine if they do it again. I would love if Barca do it again. The comeback.
I'm so sorry, but that
again,
was
again, for people that don't realise, Sulz is also a part-time Barcelona fan. So yeah, we get this every now and again. We get this.
That's a preview for tomorrow's watching on guys, by the way.
No, we've had a few occasions where we've been sitting here and we've been pretty annoyed about an Arsenal performance or upset or whatever, and then Sulz is dancing in the back and everyone's gone like, "What's the deal with this guy? Like, he's supporting the wrong team?" And then, yeah, so. When Sulz is happy, it's because Barcelona have done something right and not necessarily Arsenal. But yeah, look, I'm going to stick with my guns. I said 1-0 Arsenal last night. Yeah, I just think Arteta, tight margins. I don't think he's going to go for broke in the first leg. So I think we'd be doing well to come out if we can even scrape a 1-0 win. You know, so especially given the form we've had lately. But yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal. But yeah, look, I just want to say a big thanks, first of all, to everyone that has come into the chats and thrown a few questions at us. Always very, very much appreciated. Everyone is taking the time to watch and like, and I really do appreciate everyone subscribing to the channel. As I always say, look, if you want to continue to support me, please do check out the guys on the panel as well. The Twitter handles are down below. All content creators, so look, you can get in touch with the guys. I will leave descriptions or links in the description below where you can check all the guys out, so please do check them out, because I can tell you firsthand it's not easy doing this. So but we do it for the support and you know, all the love that people show, so we do appreciate it. So please do continue supporting it and check everybody out. Just before I wrap it up, I'm going to let each one of you just give yourself a little shout out and let the people know exactly where they can find you and your channel and that. So, Sulz, take it away.
Firstly, thank you very much for having me. It's been an absolute, pleasure to talk to every single one of you, especially with the Olympiacos insights. And also, just subscribe, like, don't even think about it. Just do it. There's nothing to think about. Give the panel some love. Go on their Twitters. Send as much love as you can. Give them that support. Encourage them, regardless of the rivalry. And obviously, we're going to come on top. But even despite all of that, let's just show them some support, because they're going to need it. And yeah, you can find me on Gooner Sulz. We have got a watch along tomorrow, so that'll be a first of many. And yeah, no, thank you very much for the support and love so far that I've gotten as well.
Yeah, and like that, Sulz, you're becoming you're like my sidekick now at this stage. I think it's getting to the stage where I think people aren't going to watch unless I have you on the panel now. So whether you like it or not, you're all in. You're signing that lifetime contract, whether you like it or not. Ryan, I'm going to let you do your shout out next, and then lads, I'll let you talk Olympiacos after. So Ryan, where can the people find you?
Well, thank you, Batman and Robin. I appreciate you guys letting me on the show. Of course, obviously, guys. Of course, guys, if you want to check out my content, of course, Ryan Williams AFC. I just keep it honest. I loved it. I love a debate. Check me out. Let me know what you guys think. And of course, my Twitter handle's there at RJ Wills. Thanks again for having me on, Anthony. Thanks again, boys. Nice to meet you all. Souls, you know what it is, man. Appreciate you all, guys.
Yeah, big shout out RJ Wills. Yeah, I've been wanting to collab with Ryan for a long time. So we finally got to. I wouldn't say meet face to face, meet camera to camera there the other night. So yeah, it was good to finally get to link up. So great to have you. And yeah, the two guys, the Olympiacos fans, providing the knowledge and insight. Really do appreciate it. Yeah, we would have been lost without you. So it's always great to have the insider information on what to expect. So Lambros, I'll start with yourself. I know you guys are doing great things over there. So let the people know where they can check out the content.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for having me on. It's great to talk football. I have a soft spot for Arsenal as well. I really in England and outside of Greece, actually, I really do support you guys. I would almost classify Arsenal as my second team. So it was great to come on and talk a little bit about Arsenal, a little bit about Olympiacos, and for the project we're doing on Greek football, we're at Gate 7 and the number 7 INTL, and our project, I think I explained it earlier, is we're for Olympiacos fans around the world, and we're passionate about our team, and we're trying to make our team a global team with just a team that's on that global stature. And we think the best way to do that is to do that in English, bring in old players, bring in journalists, and connect our team in Greece, which people don't know a ton about, and bring that out to the world and try and build our international fan base and make our club bigger. You know, that's ultimately our goal. And we're a new project, but we've already done some awesome things. And if you guys want to give us a follow, again, Gate 7 INTL, we're going to keep pumping out content with former players of Olympiacos. I saw Joel Campbell interview there. We have Spanish speakers. Maybe we'll give it a shot. He was a great player for us for a year.
Yeah, great stuff. And yeah, look, I strongly encourage, I know this is an Arsenal channel, but look, it's always nice to get the insight on other clubs in European football. And you don't have to feel dirty. It's not another Premier League team. It's okay. You can go check it out. You can check out the content. We won't judge. You know, it's okay. So and Stephen, where can we check out your stuff?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for inviting me on Lambros' behalf. It's been such a good laugh, like chatting with you guys about Arsenal. And something you don't know about me, half of my family, you're either Arsenal or Spurs. My dad is Tottenham, so sorry guys, but I have never watched a team more at the stadium live than I have Arsenal, and that's thanks to my uncle who has a season ticket, and I got to watch Arsenal a lot over the last few years. They've never lost when I've gone to see them, apart from when Olympiacos played them in the Champions League in 2015-16 when we beat you. And it was always great. Like I saw great nights like against Chelsea when it was 2-2, City when you won 3-1, like amazing games. Alexis Sanchez at his prime, Ozil at his prime, enough said really, like amazing. And in terms of where you can find me, primarily I'm on Twitter with the Twitter handle at Steve Contiru with the long ass surname. And I'm a contributor for Hellas Football, and we have been distributing latest Greek updates with football in English, because there's not really a main outlet that does that. It's all in Greek, and so there's a lot of diaspora, like Greeks who live abroad who can't speak Greek, and so it's important that like if they want to get into Greek football, they can come to us. And we do regular updates on the national team, on the Greek Super League. We talk about obscure stuff like the second tier, which no one even knows about. You'll hear about a team from the backwaters of Greece that you'll never have heard of. And we have a weekly podcast that's on Spotify and on Apple Music, sorry. And I've literally I've just been told that one of my blogs has just been dropped on previewing this game. So if you want to check it out, go to my Twitter handle, or I'll also put the Hellas Football Twitter handle as well, at Hellas Footy, just in the chat as well. And yeah, so please come support me, come support us, and definitely support Gate 7, because these guys at Gate 7 are doing massive things for the community as well.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like that, I went out looking for an Olympiacos fan there recently, and yeah, look, I came across the content, and I said, look, the search has ended here. This is, I don't need to go any further. These guys definitely know their stuff. So no, I'm really happy I could get both of you on. And look, if you're happy enough to come back, hopefully we can collab again ahead of the second leg. We'll definitely do something. Yeah, so look, big shout out to all the guys who came on the panel. Really appreciate the support as always. Big thanks to everyone again in the chats for liking, subscribing, checking out the content. Just enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll leave it at that. Can't wait for it now. So yeah, look, best of luck to everybody. But look, come on, you Gunners.